What up, y'all? It's your boy. Right back at y'all with another shorty. Yeah, I know it's been a while since I dropped a video. I was sitting here looking at one of my favorite YouTube channels, and I like to watch um, prison genre. And one of my favorite guys, he was talking about how um, bad the food was in prison. And he was also talking about how they would have like flies and rats and stuff running around in the kitchen in prison. And it made me think about some of the crazy stuff we used to see at McDonald's when it came to like rodents and stuff like that. And just a couple of them came to my mind right off the top. One was back then we had out in the parking lot, you had the dumpster where we put all the trash and stuff in. And beside the dumpster, there was also barrels out there that we used to dump all the old grease in at the end of the night. All that hot grease we was using to cook, the burgers and the fries. We took that grease out every night, and there were barrels outside that we dumped that grease into the barrels, and that stuff would get picked up. Maybe it might have been like once a week they came and emptied those barrels. But anyway, when we would take the trash out at night, needless to say, it's in that dumpster there was a constant food source for rats. So when you would take that trash out at night, I'm talking about you out there, 10, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, taking out trash. It's already rats like just posted up inside the dumpster, just waiting to be fed because we threw food away every day. So you go out there and take the trash out, and then how you get the dumpster and you get the little hole that you throw the trash through. Well, it could be 2 or 3 rats just sitting right up on that edge, just sitting there, waiting for you to throw the food in there. Because we basically was feeding them every night. So they would never like attack people. They knew you were going to feed them anyway. So you would throw the trash bag in there. You throw that trash bag in there, the rats just go ahead and start ripping through the bag, trying to find stuff to eat. You could hear them in the dumpster, rummaging around. But the crazy part was when we would go take that grease out. Like I said, the grease would go out into these barrels that are out there right beside the dumpster. And this is hot grease. Now, when you open that bin up, let's say it's an empty barrel, okay? So you dump that grease in there. Let's just say it's a Monday. It's an empty barrel. So you dump the grease in there that night. You come in there Tuesday, open it up. It's like jelly in there. That grease, once it cools off, turns into like jelly. And you just keep pouring grease in there until you fill that whole barrel up. Well, as you start filling that grease up, the rats will start going in there because they can smell that grease. That hot grease is like soup to them. So we would pour grease in there. Once it starts building up, the rats just start jumping in there. All they smell is the grease. They don't understand how hot that grease is. So you could pour grease in there, and then you could sit there and leave it open because there's a top that went onto it. But sometimes people wouldn't put the top on there, or they wouldn't put the top on there all the way. And as you start filling that thing up, you could have that thing open and be sitting out there talking, or people be out there smoking, and you would literally see rats jumping from the dumpster into that grease barrel, trying to get that because they smell that grease. But that grease is like over 400 degrees. So they jump in there and they just in there frying up, getting burnt alive. They can't get out. They done jumped in there. They can't get out. So as the week goes on and we're putting more and more grease in there, and it's like every time you put more and more grease in there, more rats jumping in there. And once they get in, they're done. They get cooked to death in the grease. But what happens is, like if some rats go in there like during the daytime we haven't been pouring anything in there, and it's just a bunch of just jelly in that barrel. The rats are going to be eating the jelly. They eat themselves almost to a coma. So every time you open that grease thing up to pour grease in there, there's probably live rats in there that was been in there eating grease, but they can't get out because they all greasy and they can't get out. So they're just stuck in there. So a lot of times when you pouring grease into that barrel, you're actually pouring that grease onto live rats. So you cooking them in that grease. So once you done poured the grease on top of them, you done cook them up, and then just like a fool, you sit there for a few minutes, and you may see a rat jump out from the barrel, but jump out from the dumpster into the barrel because it's hot, fresh grease. It just souped to them. It's actually a death trap. So it wasn't nothing to just those of us who had to close at night, to just be pouring hot grease on live rats in them barrels, or just watching rats jumping from the dumpster into that barrel and just get cooked alive. So that was crazy. Another thing was in the summertime, especially like early, like just going from spring to summer. So you're talking about around May, June, something like that, around this time when they start getting hot and all the bees start coming back out. And what happens is the back door to our McDonald's, guys would have the door open, taking the trash out, or just out there cleaning the parking lot. And so they would be out there and they would have that back door open. And leaving that back door open sometimes would let bees into the building. And we'd be in the grill area, and it'd be like, them bees start flying around in the grill area. And for whatever reason, I don't know why, but them bees would love to like jump into the chicken nugget vat. Like we had the chicken nuggets, the chicken patties, the fish fillets, all cooked in the same grilling area, with just hot grease. And so these bees would jump in there and get cooked up. And I'd be like, ain't no telling how many people done had chicken nuggets, fish fillet sandwiches. Back then we had those Cajun chicken sandwiches that got like bee parts in them. Because it was like every year when around this time of year when them bees first start coming out, they would get in that McDonald's, and they, for whatever reason, when they would come into the grill area, they love to jump in that grease where we cook the nuggets and stuff at. And they get cooked up in that grease, because that grease is hot all day long. And you talking about a bee would get in there and just dissolve almost immediately. I'll be like, oh my God. So between the bees getting cooked up in the chicken vats and the fish vats, or just watching live rats, and we used to have big rats because we feeding them every night. It's a fast food place, so we just throwing food away every night. The rats know that. They just sitting there waiting to be fed. So we had them big rats out there. You would think it's like a squirrel or something. It's not. It's a rat. They in the dumpster. They eating up all the food, and then you get them ones. They take the jump and jump from that dumpster into that grease vat. And like I said, people go in there at night and open it up, and there's rats already in there. They jumped in there during the daytime when it was, when it was just gelatin grease in there, but they so greasy they can't climb their way out. They can't climb their way out, can't jump out, so they stuck in there. And so they end up pouring hot grease right on top of them, so they get cooked up, fried alive, and then some other fool rats will just jump right in there because they think they're getting something to eat, and they get cooked up. So you could watch at least a half a dozen rats get cooked up almost on a nightly basis. Just taking that grease out there every night. Because if rats ain't already in there, they're gonna jump in there because they want to eat that grease. They smell it. It smells good. Look like soup to them. It's a death trap. So that's all I wanted to lay on y'all. I know anybody that's brick fast food probably got rat stories, roach stories, bees, flies, all that. All that come with working at fast food. So that's all I got for you. So it's a little quick one right there. So I'll holler at y'all in the next one. All right.